My teacher tried taking my prosthetic leg off in class because she thought I was faking it. I have worn a prosthetic since I was 12 after a car accident. Most people do not even notice it anymore. I walk normally, play video games, do everything a regular teenager does. But my new gym teacher, Coach Morgan, had it out for me from day one. She was one of those old school coaches who thought every kid was soft and looking for excuses. She kept making comments during class about how kids these days will do anything to skip activities. The first week, I tried explaining my situation privately. I pulled her aside after class and told her about my prosthetic and the limitations it gave me. She just nodded along with this fake smile and said, "I appreciate you telling me, but everyone participates in my class." I thought maybe she understood, but I was wrong. The next day, she called me out in front of everyone and said, "We all have bad days, but that does not mean we get to sit around." I brought in my medical documentation the following week, a letter from my doctor, my physical therapy schedule, everything. She took one look at the papers, crumpled them up, and tossed them in the trash. She said, "I have been teaching for 23 years. I have seen every excuse in the book. You are not special." The other students just stared. Nobody said anything because everyone was terrified of getting on her bad side. Things escalated when she announced we would be running the mile for our fitness assessment. I raised my hand and said I could not run long distances because it damages my prosthetic socket and causes serious pain. She walked right up to me, got in my face, and said, "Then I guess you better start stretching because you are running today, or you are failing this class." I looked around for support, but everyone avoided eye contact. I had no choice. I started running with the rest of the class. For the first lap, I was okay. The second lap, I started feeling the socket shift. By the third lap, the pain was getting bad. Halfway through the fourth lap, I had to stop. I limped over to the side of the track and told Coach Morgan I needed to adjust my prosthetic. She marched over with her clipboard and said, "Enough with the drama. You have been fine this whole time." That is when she did it. She reached down and grabbed my prosthetic leg, trying to yank it off to prove I was faking. The pain was instant and horrible. I fell hard onto the track. She kept pulling, getting more frustrated that it was not just popping off like she expected. I was screaming and crying, begging her to stop. The entire class went completely silent. A few kids pulled out their phones and started recording because they could not believe what they were seeing. She kept twisting and pulling with both hands, saying if this was real, it would not be this difficult. I could feel the locking mechanism starting to break. The socket was digging into my skin. Blood started seeping through my shorts. Some students started yelling at her to stop, but she ignored them completely. That is when our principal, Mrs. Chen, happened to be walking past the field. She saw everything and sprinted over. She was shouting, "What are you doing? Stop right now." Coach Morgan finally let go and stood up. She turned to the principal and said, "This student has been lying about having a disability. I was just proving it so we could move forward with disciplinary action." Mrs. Chen looked at her with complete shock and then looked down at me still on the ground, crying and bleeding. She said, "Coach Morgan, that student is my daughter." The color drained from Coach Morgan's face instantly. She started stammering, saying she did not know, she had no idea. My mom helped me up carefully and said in this ice-cold voice, "My office, now." Within 2 hours, Coach Morgan was escorted off campus by security. The school board held an emergency meeting that evening. After my mom showed them the videos that students had sent in, there were 7 different angles of the whole thing. She lost her teaching license that week. My parents filed a lawsuit and she ended up paying for all my medical bills and the damaged prosthetic. Some people really do not think before they act.